Time for the ride home in ENC.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is your 5 o'clock drive with Patrick Johnson.
Holy mackerel!
More news, more interviews, more ECU stories than you can shake a stick at. Hey, stop shaking that stick. This is the Patrick Johnson Show.
Pirates win! Pirates win!
On 94.3 The Game.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome. It is the exciting rendition of the Patrick Johnson Show, the pre-edition for the matchup tonight as we lead you into coverage of NC State at East Carolina. The Wolfies, Philip the Rep Pilkington,
Wolfpack A for soft people,
taking on the Pirates as East Carolina will try and get a victory over the Pack.
How about them Pirates, baby?
That's what I hope we're saying at the end of the night. That's what I hope we're saying at the end of the night when it comes to not only East Carolina versus NC State, but East Carolina versus North Carolina. There is one instance where I will cheer for NC State, and that's when they play North Carolina. Other than that, I ain't rooting for either one of them.
Fair enough. Me too.
No way for either one of them. But I would root for the Pack when they play the Heels.
Oh,
I'll be a
100%.
professional tonight. I'll be a professional. But the fan in me wants to see a Pirate sweep tonight.
Oh, it'd be wonderful. Well,
It'd be outstanding.
let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Hey now.
Let's not. I'll tell you what we got to do, because we're going to have Jonathan Wagner on. And we got to allow a lot of times for Wags to be with us, because we want to have a free-flow conversation with Wags. So we'll go ahead and jump into the top 5. How about that, Pilk? We got a lot to get to today on this.
We do. It's busy.
This may very well be our last mission. Let's make it count.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
It's impossible.
Now some stories you may have heard
You ready?
or catch it for the first time. This is your 5 at 5 with the P-Man.
Number one, the Pirates will host the Pack on the Diamond tonight. NC State coming off a 2-1 weekend against Duke. ECU coming off a 1-2 week against Tulane. Ryan Towers will be back in his normal midweek role on the mound for the Pirates here at the top of the hour.
Two storylines, in my opinion, going in tonight from the ECU perspective, Pilk. One, how will the Pirates perform without Linehan hitting in the 3-hole? Obviously, he is injured. Don't know if he'll be back in. We will see if he maybe could be an emergency pinch hitter, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So with a bunch of injuries on this roster already, how do you navigate that tonight against a pretty good starting pitcher for NC State? And then will Ryan Towers be able to replicate, I'm not saying throw no-hit ball, but just be able to replicate the type of performance he had against Duke, in that he was really efficient, he was really good, and he seemed very much in command. I think he could end up being really, really fantastic. He's got a very good self-deprecating bit of humor, a little bit of a soft contact lefty. He's a little crafty. I like the fact that he's taken a lot of the gyrations out of the lineup. Credit to Austin Knight for working with him on that, and the others involved with the pitching at ECU. So let's see how it goes. I do think the Pirates will have a lot of juice in the building tonight. That's just what I think, Pilk.
I think so. And yeah, it is going to be interesting to see how they navigate him being out, but that being Linehan, but hopefully it's short term. And as for Towers, yeah, it doesn't have to be, like you said, what we saw last time out. It just needs to be, get us through the order, maybe twice, maybe throw 4 innings, maybe 5, and, don't allow more than 2 runs.
Number 2.
Number 2, the Tar Heels rolling to town on the softball diamond as they will take on Shane Winkler's program, who's trying to build off an impressive win in the second game of their doubleheader on Saturday as a win over North Texas, which was part of a 1-2 weekend for them.
North Carolina comes in having hit 90 home runs this year. 90.
They hit a lot this weekend. They got swept this weekend, but damn, they hit a lot of home runs against Duke.
No, they got 2 out of 3 against Duke, but
no, they did.
They did not hit a home run on Sunday against the Blue Devils, and as a result, only scored a couple runs. East Carolina, 17 home runs. So if the Pirates are going to win tonight, the offense is going to have to be small balling it. I think it is an idea to try to keep this thing in a low-scoring affair if you're ECU, because I think that's your best chance to win tonight against North Carolina. So the pitching's going to have to show up, and I do think you're going to see all three of ECU's frontline pitchers potentially in the game tonight. The other storyline here is, will Kendall Frost get in the circle, the former ECU freshman phenom who transferred in the offseason to North Carolina? She's been the workhorse for the Tar Heels, has appeared in the most games of anybody on the staff. So let's hope that the Pirates, if she does show up, will greet her rudely.
Hey, man, you transfer there, you deserve to be greeted rudely.
No, look, I like Kendall, sweet young lady, heck of a competitor, but you're in the wrong color uni now for me to be pulling for you. Again, as a fan. We'll be professional on the broadcast with Courtney Layton.
Number 3, NBA play-in game tonight. The Hive will be alive. The Hornets will host the Miami Heat in the 9-10 game. Loser will be eliminated. The winner will move on to Friday's play-in 8-seed game, which would be on the road regardless of who wins tonight. It's going to be a 7:30 tip on Amazon Prime.
Con Knipple has had probably the best year of a rookie I can think of, as far as shooting the basketball. Well, ever, because he's got the most threes made by a first-year guy in NBA history. And I'll be honest with you, Pilk, I don't know a whole lot else about this roster. I know that it's an exciting team. They've played hard all year, and they have gotten the fans in your hometown excited about pro basketball again, which I think is a good thing.
It is, and they're one of the hottest teams in the new calendar year. I think if you go back to like January 15th through 20th as the date, they've got the second best record in the NBA. They got out of the gate really, really slow this season, and that was due to some injuries, as well as just guys getting used to playing with each other. The great thing about this team is they can win on any given night because they can shoot the basketball. You mentioned Con Knipple, who led the NBA in three-pointers for the entire season. Well, guess who was second? It was LaMelo Ball by only one. Con hit 271, LaMelo Ball hit 270. You have a star in Brandon Miller. The tough thing, I think, with this team, there's no true front court with this team. Moussa Diabate is more of a 4. Ryan Cockburner is a 5, but he's a old school 5. He's a little slower, doesn't guard on the perimeter as well. So things like that are going to keep this team from making a true deep run and being a true NBA title contender. And even if they were to pull off some miraculous run in the East, when they ran into a team like if they run into Oklahoma City or Denver or San Antonio, they probably wouldn't stand much of a chance. But they are laying the foundation for what can be a bright future in the Queen City.
Well, that's what I think. This is what this is really all about tonight. Can you get into a situation where you win and give the fans a feel-good moment regardless of what would happen, beyond? I think that's a great thing. I'm excited about it. I will not be able to watch it because I will not be able to get Amazon Prime on a device in the booth, but if I were home, I'd probably check it out tonight.
444.
Yeah, we might get home. I might get home to see the end of it. I don't know if you have a little shorter drive than you do.
You could get home to see the end of it, sure.
Yeah. Number 4, the Carolina Hurricanes have locked up the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. No, you got to point to yourself.
My Carolina Hurricanes.
There you
get
go.
It right. Regardless of what happens tonight, it's irrelevant against the Isles. And they're either going to play your boys, the Bruins, or they're going to play the Senators, who have the guy with the broken arm playing, who's my new favorite player in sports. So we'll get LeBlanc on, I'm sure, this week at some point. But we got to talk to him because I got to get primed and ready for my Carolina Hurricanes. I think this is a good thing to be the top seed. It seems kind of quiet, though, Pilk. Am I wrong on that? It seems like it's kind of been quietly done. Now, they're peaking seemingly at the right time.
They are. I think it's been quietly done because Carolina's had a lot of success lately, and in order for them to truthfully make noise, they're going to have to make the Stanley Cup Finals. And I think the NHL world expects them to be good, but is still doubting their ability to make it to the finals. And this is the perfect setup for it. You're not the President's Trophy winner. You don't have the kiss of death. You let Colorado take that one, and hey, you got home ice through till you get to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Is this the best coach in the NHL? I think so, isn't it? He's done the best job.
A lot of Canes fans would disagree with you. I think a lot of Canes fans want him out just due to the lack of being able to win in the playoffs.
I think Brindamore's been outstanding. I don't understand how you. I
It's
don't know.
that
Maybe
question:
you're
can he
right.
finish though?
Maybe so, but it seems like the people up there love him. The media love him. The players love him.
Yeah.
They seem committed to him.
5.
Okay, number 5. The WNBA commissioner was. We'll just play the clip. This is just. We want ample time to talk about this.
All right.
Future as the commissioner of the Dylan Kinney with the New York Post. Adam Silver was asked last month about just your future as the commissioner of the WNBA, and he said he didn't know what you wanted to do. So I guess I'm just curious, like, how much do you want to stay the commissioner of the WNBA? How much longer do you anticipate to be in this role?
Well, thank you, Patty. I do crack up how everybody's focused on me, and you should be focused on the hundreds of amazing women and thousands of women who run this league outside of myself. Our women owners, our women board of governors, our women GMs and women head coaches, and my whole team of diverse women and men who are working hard every day to get the 30th season tipped off by May 8th. But I appreciate that you're focused on me as well. I wonder whether you would ask that of a man, by the way. But I realize as women, we get asked different questions than men do. But
there's always an axe to grind with everybody in that league, and they have the most and they had their draft last night, and they got another UConn player paired with Beckers in Dallas. I mean, Caitlin Clark is still the star of the league, and rightfully so. They cannot get out of their own way, though, when it comes to these things. And I mean, I understand her wanting to give credit to all the people. That's a very political answer. She's also 61. And I don't know how long she's been in the seat of the commissioner, but I don't think that was a question that was out of bounds. Interestingly enough, she clapped back at a female reporter, which I guess by her standards would make me a sexist. But, I mean, it's just an odd thing to say, regardless if the reporter was male or female. Just a strange thing to say.
Men are being asked this every day. Patrick, you, on this radio station, you have asked Mike Oresco in his time how much longer he was going to be the commissioner of the American. Right. I was in a press conference where Gilmore from Coastal Carolina, the baseball coach, was asked by one of their reporters here in Greenville how much longer. Coaches get asked this crap every day, both male and female. I mean, what a stupid comment to make. I mean, this is, like you said, they can't get out of their own way. What a moron.
It's hard to root for the success of that league with the behavior of everybody, and it starts clearly at the top. All right, let's turn our attention to baseball. On the diamond, ECU hosting NC State. Jonathan Wagner on the other side joins us.
Oh, hey, welcome back.
Oh, look who's back reporting for duty.
You got here just in time.
Holy nuts, man.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back. We got baseball coming up top of the hour. Jonathan Wagner of On3 Sports, also the Bucks on the Pond podcast. He joins us here on the Patrick Johnson Show. We like to visit with Wags every so often, and obviously there's a lot to talk about. Pilk also here. Wags, how are you? The mustache is gone. That's right, Mustache March is no longer in vogue. So, you look like a serial killer with the mustache. That's just my opinion. Pilk,
It was
am I
time
right?
for the mustache to go. It was
Look,
time.
what you just said was way more appropriate than what I said, so we'll just leave it at that.
I didn't want to say but I thought I'd give, I thought I would give Wags a little cunning to his despicable side, to the evil twin, if you will. So, yeah, I mean, that's that.
Don't worry,
Let's
Patrick.
get off
now it's time for Kane's playoff beard. So,
well, yeah. Oh, now there you go. I think you would look quite handsome with the beard, Wags. I think a beard would be a good look for you.
I told him that the other day. He said he's still worried that it might come in a little patchy. He had a little 5 o'clock shadow going on the other night, and it was full. It was consistent. So I told him that he's got to do it with the playoff beard this year, and I'll trim mine down this weekend.
Keep it tight. Keep it tight.
No, the playoff beard you can't shave it. That's the whole point. It grows until you lose.
Well, I'm trying to get Wags. I don't know what his relationship status is, but I'm trying to get Wags a date. And I think if he keeps it close, the ladies will flock to Jonathan Wagner. That's my prediction.
I'll take that into consideration. Okay.
Okay. There you go. Look,
I like
listen to Pilk. Pilk with this shaggy. Pilk looks like a 50-year-old truck driver. You need to keep in mind that you're a man on about the town, Wags. You know, big national operation like On 3. I mean, you gotta look the part. Gotta look the part.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, thank you.
But look, I'll start the playoff period. The last regular season for the Canes. The game tonight is the last regular season game. So
yeah.
After tonight,
you start it now.
It's time to start it, and then we'll see where it goes.
By the way, I am firmly, now that they're the top seed, Pilk, I am firmly on the bandwagon. I'm so on this bandwagon, it ain't even crazy.
Top seed and not the President's Trophy winners, because that's the kiss of death. So all the more reason for you to be on the bandwagon there, PJ.
All right.
You know, Avs got the kiss of death.
Can we get LeBlanc later in the week, Pilk, by the way?
Let's we'll try him for Friday.
Thursday or Friday, yeah. I think we ought to get LeBlanc on one way or the other because we need to talk some hockey. Wags could always do that too. All right, big matchup tonight on the Diamond in Greenville. Two of them, in fact. UNC is playing ECU in softball. First time since 2019 they've been there. Myself and Courtney Layton will be on the call of that game on ESPN Plus, and also on ESPN Plus and 94.3 The Game and the IBX Media app through the ECU Sports Network. It'll be Dylan and Coach O with the call of NC State and ECU from Greenville. First of two matchups this year. Wags, you know, I look at this and, well, let's start with the weekend. You know, no Grady Linehan, it would seem like tonight, so that's very much, I think, a concern. I do feel good about Ryan Towers going to the Hill because he seems to have lost some of that, you know, moving around and all of that. And so I feel good about that standpoint. But as we look at the pitching matchup and as we look at just this game overall, let's go back and look at the weekends that were for these respective sides. First, for the Pirates, who I thought certainly could have won all three games. I think they really let Sunday slip away for sure, I felt. You know, I really liked what I saw Saturday when it was tied and then they, you know, sprinted ahead in the late innings and were able to hang on. But, and you know what? They didn't get a bad pitching performance at the start of the game Friday. What's his name deserved a better fate than he got Friday because, I mean, the only home run he allowed was the only hit he allowed was the home run. Let me see here. Luke Payne, bringing the pain. And then Gavin Marley did a good job to kind of come in and eat some innings. So, yeah, they could have won all three games. Pilk says it's voodoo. Do you agree with this when it comes to the New Orleans curse, that it is voodoo?
Yeah, the New Orleans voodoo, the Corey Glore voodoo, but it just seems whatever
look, anytime we can blame Gore for anything, I'm all for it. So, yes, I'm here for that.
But it's just frustrating because it seems like no matter what we do, what kind of team we have, we always just struggle at Tulane. And this weekend, it seems to be the issues that we haven't seen in a couple weeks. The defense was poor all weekend long, I thought.
Yeah.
The defense did the pitching no favors Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So it was frustrating from that standpoint. And then the bats didn't show up. And at the spot like that where your pitching is really kind of carrying you with all the injuries it's had, for the offense not to show up, it was frustrating. So it was a series that I definitely think ECU should have won. And like you said, I think they could have won all three and swept the weekend as well. So it just feels like a missed opportunity for me. Like they should have done a lot better, but they got in their own way. That's how I see it. So frustrating weekend for sure.
Very rare that you see Braden Burris struggle, and then he and Whitaker both struggling. I mean, that was a lot of it too. Burris is such a table setter to really just have those top two guys struggle. It seemed like, you know, you kind of had your right hand tied behind your back, if you will, the whole weekend. So I expect Burris guys to have an enormous game tonight. Let's get the response on that from both of you guys. I think he'll be huge tonight. Braden Burris will.
Yeah, I think he has to be. The lineup this week as a whole, the last week, I guess, just Jack Herring was 466 in the top five, and the rest of the top five, we had the same order all week. It was 176, 076, 266, and 250, and the 6-0 was 222. So that's just not good enough. Jack Herring was great. Michael Kalinic was great. But the top guys have to be the top guys. And Braden Burris sets the table. And in a game against State, Burris's thing lately has been leadoff homers. So I'd love it if he set the tone tonight by doing it again. But this team will go as Braden Burris goes and as Davin Whitaker goes. So we need those two guys to show up and be what they are and be the top guys in this lineup.
Yeah, let's just go back a couple weeks to the week Walker Barron had at UTSA. Not a good week for him, and he comes back against Charlotte and has a really good weekend, and that's the mark of a good hitter. And Walker is not even to the level of those two guys that we're mentioning here, but he is a solid part of this lineup. So if he does it and he bounces back, it's all the more reason to have faith that guys like Davin Whitaker and Braden Burris can bounce back. I mean, these guys have been pure hitters all year. I felt both of them put a little too much pressure on themselves. At least that's what it seemed like from the TV thing. They were trying to change the game with one swing of the bat because they knew no one was really batting well. I feel like Davin especially didn't really let the game come to him. And if they get back in the mindset that they were in all year long, which these guys are both extremely mature beyond their years, young men, mature baseball players, then I think they'll have big weeks starting tonight and heading into this weekend series against Wichita.
Let me ask you, Wags, about Jack Herring. So 36 games he has reached. Did he get a hit Sunday, guys? Do we know?
No.
He did not. He was 0-2 with 2 walks.
All right. So he had like a hitting streak, 7-8 games that came to a halt, but he still has reached in 36. He has been so productive. I mean, this is, out of all the guys to have ever played baseball at ECU, he's among a group of less than 20 that have this kind of streak. Now, he's got a little ways to go before the Connor Norby number comes into play of, games reached consecutively. But Molly and I did the numbers this weekend. I think he was less than 200 before the Charlotte series last year, and then was well over 300, and then obviously he's hitting the ball very well this year. So the turnaround from Jack Herring has been tremendous.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jack Herring was one of those guys, when we saw him last year for the first time, I wasn't very impressed. He wasn't a guy that I ever thought would be a contributor on this team, let alone an everyday starter and 3, 4, 5-hole hitter. But now he's, like I said, he's the kind of the engine in the middle of the order. Braden Burris is the engine at the top, but if Jack Herring isn't producing in the middle, then this team's not going to go. So, I mean, it's not just the extra base hits. He loves coming through with homers and doubles, it feels like lately, but he draws walks. He works counts. He gets on base, and that's so valuable from a guy who can also hit for power. So Herring is valuable. His defense has also been a lot better in right field this year than I think any of us expected it to be. So all around, he's kind of your guy right now, and you need Jack Herring to not only hit, but you need him to hit with guys in front of him getting on, because when you get guys in scoring position, you look at this lineup, who do I trust to drive him in? The answer is Jack Herring. So he's been awesome. He's been a pleasant surprise. I never thought he'd be to this level of a hitter. So we need him. We need more of guys like Jack Herring, the way he works and the way he works counts. So it's been awesome to see.
Couple lefties tonight, so Herring will hit from the right side. Of course, he can homer from that side of the plate, but, the power side seems to be the left side. With that said, Ryan Towers tonight. Man, you just never know. It's college. I would almost put college pitchers on the whole up there with college kickers. I don't know if maybe in the top 5, but I mean, like, this staff, you just don't know, man. But I did see some really encouraging signs out of Towers against Duke, and he looked kind of like what was advertised when he came in from Loyola before he got hurt.
Yeah, and you need it with all the injuries. I know I keep mentioning injuries on the pitching staff, but you need someone else to step up and give you innings. So I like moving Towers back to the Tuesday role. It's by far the most comfortable he's looked all season long in that role. And, I mean, he didn't give up a hit against Duke. So me and Philip were at the Canes game watching through stat broadcast, and we're like, Philip, Ryan Towers hasn't allowed a hit yet. And obviously it unraveled when he came out, but still, I mean, what he's done on Tuesdays is awesome. So you need it, especially in a week like this where, Norby wasn't good to start last game, but then he settled in and gave you some length. Luke Payne was good, and then Webb has been solid on Sundays, but you just never know, like you said, with this pitching staff, how it's going to go. So I'm not saying you need 6 no-hit innings out of Towers again, but if he gives you 4 and he gives up a couple runs, I think I'll take that. So Ryan Towers, you need him tonight against a good NC State team, a team that can hit. So the pressure is definitely on tonight, that's for sure.
All right, I want to talk about the Wolfpack.
The Wolfpack ain't for soft people.
It's our Wolfpack theme song.
I don't want to talk about the Wolfpack.
All right, so tell me about Hemrick, the lefty, going for them tonight.
Yeah, I always am scared when we face a talented lefty, even when it's not a talented lefty. And it's just a lefty who, as the cat comes up here.
All right, wait a minute. What's the cat's name? What is the cat's name?
This cat's name is Hattie. I named her after a hat trick in a Canes game, actually. The first night I brought her home, Jordan Stahl scored a hat trick, so her name is Hattie.
Why didn't you name her Jordan?
I could have, but I don't know. Hattie just felt right,
Okay. How many cats do you have there?
I have 2.
Okay. All right. You're not Pilk, 2 cats and the mustache. I don't know about this combination for Wag. I'm a little concerned.
Hey, all I'm going to say, is the mustache got shaved.
Yeah,
and, he kept it past Mustache March. He kept it as long as the win streak was going. He shaved it before Duke. We did beat Duke.
Well, that makes
sense.
Yeah.
But this weekend didn't go too good. Do we blame Wags for our losses at Tulane?
Playoff beard. What's the name of the other cat?
The other cat, a lot more boring of a name, but his name is Eric because that weekend was Eric Stahl's jersey retirement, and Eric Stahl was my favorite player growing up. So Hattie and Eric.
Got you. Sounds like a. It's. I like that. The combination of the names is pretty good. Hattie and Eric. All right, back to Hemrick for State.
Yeah, like I said, lefties scare me in general against this team, especially because right now with the state of the lineup, it is kind of lefty heavy. And I don't know what the lineup's going to look like tonight without Grady Linehan, but not having that right-handed bat in your 3-hole scares me even more. But, he's a guy, he's got the stuff, and do I think he's going to go – same thing I said with Towers. Do I think he's going to go 6 innings? Probably not. But, again, you just kind of never know. State's Friday night guy, Duden, is out – or Saturday, I think, this year. But he's out for the season with Tommy John. So who knows how they're going to manage their pitching staff tonight. But, lefties with the good stuff, again, they scare me, especially against this lineup. This lineup did not look good this past week. So I never know what to expect. And it's a game where I think your offense is going to have to take you to the win. And I just don't know if I trust them to do it against a good pitcher and a good team. So we'll see, I guess.
Run through some of the stalwarts in the Wolfpack lineup.
Gosh. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to pull up their stats here so I'm not
right, because they can hit,
talking
right?
wrong
I mean,
here.
they can, yeah.
They hit this weekend. It was ugly.
Yeah.
Well, they did drop their Sunday game to Duke. But what they score 18 in each game against the Blue Devils?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez Louise.
It's crazy. But, they have I wanted to look it up because I wanted to make sure I knew which Nixon they still had. But they still have Luke Nixon. He's hitting 349, 4 homers. But Ty Head, he's only hitting 254, but he's got 10 homers. But if you look at the stats, just lineup-wise, average-wise, it looks like they're pretty top-heavy. Rhett Johnson is hitting 421 with 1 homer, but they have a 421, a 357, a 349, 2 more above 300, and then it drops off. So they're good, but they're beatable for sure. I don't think it's a lineup that maybe can beat you 1 through 9, but at the same time, if ECU's pitching is giving away free bases and making errors and putting guys on, then they can beat you 1 through 9. So they're a little top heavy, I would say. They can hit for some power, but really it's just you got to not leave balls over the middle for Ty Head, and ideally you don't get Rhett Johnson on or Ty Head, because they both stolen double-digit bases this season as well.
Jonathan Wagner, on3.com. You put out projections each week. Where do you have both these teams in your projections this week for On3?
Yeah, I'll start with ECU, and I fully expected when I went into the week for ECU to be out. Just the loss of Tulane, but the numbers still lined up with the bubble for ECU to get in as an at-large.
Okay.
They were in my last four in.
Okay.
So I had them in a return to the Charlottesville Regional, Virginia as the 15th national seed, Oregon as the 18th seed as the 2 seed in that regional, and then UConn as the 4. So a fun little regional there. And NC State I also had as a 3 seed. They were a little bit above the bubble as far as the last 4 in, but they were still in that conversation. They were a 3 seed in Conway with Coastal Carolina and Arkansas with Riders there 4.
Oh, my God. This song may be appropriate to play if they go to Conway. Arkansas there? I mean, my God.
Right.
You will not find a case of Skull within a 50-mile radius of Conway or Myrtle Beach, if that's the case. I mean, my God, that'll be something else. You know what? It actually would. And boy, if you're, let's just say you've forecast the region at Virginia, and here's a little subtle storyline: Pollard Godwin in the same regional. Woo!
That'd be fun.
There would be some fireworks potentially. So yeah, I think that's kind of spicy. I like that. All right, let me ask you guys real quick. Austin Irby showed some signs against Duke of starting to try to return the ball back up the middle instead of trying to pull everything. And it looked like to me this weekend in the Friday and Saturday game, he got back on that bad habit of trying to pull everything. And I mean, we talk about, even though he's he's a left-handed hitter, he's the guy at first base. He's a corner guy. Nobody was a hotter hitter last year in the postseason than he was in the country. Very few were. Maybe the guy at Coastal. But I mean, like, he's gotta start to produce for this lineup.
Yeah, you have to have it, especially with Linehan's injury and not knowing exactly how much time he'll miss. But Irby, I think last year he turned it on when your backs were against the wall. And I think right now ECU's back is against the wall. And Scott Lorbatcher last night on Bucks in the Pond beat me to my bold prediction for the week. So I'm going to take this opportunity here today to say it.
Yes.
And I think Austin Irby will hit not only a home run this week, but he will have multiple hits in multiple games across the 4 games that ECU plays. So I think warm weather, backs against the wall, Austin Irby has to show up, and I think he will.
I hope you're right, Wags, because I've been saying this for a while, and I'm going to continue to say it until your prediction comes true. I think he needs 9 innings, just 9 innings to watch in the dugout. I'm not saying yank him, say you're done, you're no longer the first baseman, but I think it needs to be one of those conversations. Not that he finds out the second he shows up to the ballpark, that maybe even finds out a couple days in advance, hey, we're going to give Boucher 1 game over there. We're just going to let you see it from a different perspective. They do it with the best hitters in baseball when they're struggling, man. They get 9 innings to just relax. And, if Aaron Boone can do it to Aaron Judge, then Cliff Godwin can do it to Austin Irby.
That seems like a move. Of course, then you think of, okay, that seems like a move for next week. Well, they go to ODU, and he's from the Tidewater. So, but
it's a move for this Friday if he doesn't hit tonight.
Well, maybe so. See, I think they keep him in the lineup.
I think they do. I think they should give him 9 innings to take a step.
No, and Boucher is capable. I mean, there's, I think there's not a more selfless guy on this team than Boucher. I mean, he's clearly wants to be here. All right, Wags, how's it go down tonight? What's the prediction?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. The atmosphere is going to be awesome, but I am going to stick to my same prediction I made last night. And I think it's going to be a 2-2 week, and I think you lose tonight against NC State. I don't trust the offense. I think you're going to have to score, probably 8 runs again, at least like you did last week. And I don't know if I trust this offense to do it. State's a better team than Duke is. So I think it'll be a good game. It's going to come down to the last inning or two. But I just think ultimately NC State's going to pour it on when they get to our bullpen, unless we go to Sean Jenkins, which we could. But either way, I just think State is going to edge us out just barely in a 8-6 type of game like we saw last Tuesday.
Pilk, you know what this sounds like to me?
What?
I think we're going to lose.
A Dom Kasulki prediction. That's what I think this sounds like to me.
Sounds
Does
like
Wags know Kasulki?
He's met Dom once or twice. Yeah.
Yeah, we met a couple times.
Okay. They seem like they would be guys that would hang out.
They would. I think so.
And Wags. Yeah, I think they'd get along well. All right. Wags, good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. And hopefully next time, then we're talking about ECU being above the bubble. So hopefully they take care of business, and it's a good week for East Carolina.
I hope so. Thank you. We'll recap it tomorrow and have more when we join you. Stay tuned. We're going to send you out in just a few minutes to Clark LeClaire Stadium, ECU Sports Network here on 94.3 The Game and the IBX Media app as Dylan Johnson and Dr. Gary Overton. Coach O will have the radio call of Pirate Baseball as they take on the Wolfies tonight. For Jonathan Wagner, Philip the Rep Pilkington, I'm Patrick Johnson. I'll see you top of the hour on ESPN Plus for UNC and ECU softball. Hope you'll join us there as well. Take care, everybody.